Chips ahoy!
Yeah.
Because Broadcom is indeed a chip maker, folks. They reported better than expected quarterly profit and revenue. They also announced, sort of like their brethren, Nvidia, a 10-for-1 stock split. So that's why this one was just exploding to the upside. And yeah, we had unusual activity in it. So when you take a look at this activity, you know, it was a $1,412 stock in the last week of May. Well, they were buying the 1450 calls. Today, the Broadcom or AVGO traded to 1665 or higher. And those calls, even though they were expensive at $40, went to whatever, Pete, 200 and some odd dollars. It's a 6x return, 6 times your money. So again, that's why we always say it's not an option to only trade stocks, because if you only trade stocks, you don't get 6x.
No.
Even if you owned Nvidia all year, you don't get 6x. You're up about 300%. But if you want 6x, if you want 10x, like the hat says, you got to be trading options, and you're defining your risk when you enter, and you get a leveraged return. What do you think about these earnings at Broadcom, Pete?
Absolutely incredible. They absolutely crushed it. You look at the earnings themselves, you look at the revenue, absolute beats. You talked about the 10-to-1 split. That's going to be something pretty amazing. I wonder why they did that. I wonder what the plans are for the future. Anyway, they're probably taking a look at Nvidia and figuring, you know what, maybe we can snuggle up next to these guys and maybe get into a few other areas of the market. They also raised the guidance, John. You and I talk about it all the time. Every time you look at earnings, that's the most important thing. What does it look like for an outlook? Well, their outlook looks pretty good at $51 billion of revenue that they're throwing out there in front of us right now. I would say this, but going back to those results from the options, John, it's funny how many people, and you and I used to sit on a desk with people that used to say, you know what, that's a hell of a move today. You know, you see this thing, it's up 7%. I don't think you get up for 7%. I know I don't wake up for 7%. That's why we do what we do in the derivatives markets, right? I mean, that's why we trade what we trade. By the way, for Broadcom, I'm looking at a PE of 31. That's really not that bad. Some people probably would say, well, it's pretty daggone steep. I don't really view it that way, especially if you look at the growth factor going forward. And free cash flow of nearly $19 billion. I think there's a lot of different reasons why this is one of those names that doesn't get talked about a lot, but probably will start getting more and more chatter over the next couple of months, because you take a look at Nvidia and what it's done. Broadcom's got a lot of things very similar. AI is definitely a big portion of what they're doing right now.
Like I say, chips ahoy. It's a fabulous report. No two ways about it.